guys, good morning. So, new video clip, new sewing project, and today I want to show you guys how to make a sleeveless, super simple, basic version of my new #TR beach dress sewing pattern. The pattern is a PDF and you can download it in my Etsy shop. So anyway guys, the link is in the description down below. Today I'm going to turn this gorgeous golden orangey yellow linen into a very nice and very pretty beach dress. So guys, for this project I've also made bias tape. First things first, let's take our fabric, let's iron our fabric, and then we can cut out the pieces. We start with the center back seam. I've cut the back with center back seam allowance 1.5 cm. So what we want to do, this is the right side, so it's already with the wrong sides facing, and we're gonna do a French seam. So let's give it a few pins, and so that should be enough for now. Let's take the dress and bring it over to the sewing machine. So the first one is just 1/4 inch 0.5 cm seam allowance. Please don't forget to like and subscribe and comment and share this video with your friends too if you want. Thank you so much. So now we can press it open. Then it's just great for finger pressing, so that's what I usually do. So you separate the two seam allowances and just scratch right through the middle with your finger. So once we've opened it like this, let's flip it over and then make this edge here really nice and clean and press it again. So now it's the right sides facing. So this is a French seam. So later on, this is on the inside of the garment and it will be like a little sausage. So that should be sufficient, and now let's bring it back to the machine. So now we're going to re-stitch this seam, but this time with a little bit more seam allowance, so 1 cm, 3/8 of an inch. And here we go. So, inside of the garment, outside of the garment. Now, if there's little frays or something, little snip, 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 you just pull them and clip them. So, let's press this too. So, all of my patterns come with these really detailed tutorials. I don't know if you guys knew. So it's very easy actually. We just follow the steps. Okay, so this is the body measurements that I use for my drafting, and these are the actual garment measurements. So the first step, center back seam, we just made it, and now we can continue to the shoulder seams. So it's the same thing. First wrong sides facing and then right sides facing, French seams. Let's go. First things first, let's turn this one around. Right now, shoulders. So, here we go. The neckline is very fragile and so are the armholes. And once we have stitched this, we can stay stitch the curves and then work a bit more relaxed. So let's French seam this. Wrong sides facing first. 1/4 inch, 0.5 cm. And then we can press it open. do the other one, and then we flip it, reverse it, and stitch it again. Flip it around. 3/8 of an inch or 1 cm. Similar. Let's do this again. Here we are. Nice and clean. One more time. So let me show you how to do the stay stitch here. So now here we have our seam allowances to the back. Compress it a little bit. Here you can choose left or right. And let's stay stitch all the way. And if you want, you can do it here too, to secure the edges so they don't stretch out too much, because these bits are on the bias. You can see it, so they want to stretch and we don't want them to do it. So let's stop them. Big stitch. And now I just want to stitch maybe with 1/4 of an inch seam allowance, something like this. So that's that, and now also the armholes real quick. Easier though, because they're not heavy on the run. Alright, now let's stitch the bias tape here to the neckline. We want to start at the center back with our bias tape and give it a good bit of extra here, and then if you like, you can pin it also. Don't forget, right sides facing, and all the way around if you like, or just take it like this. So we actually have like around 1 cm seam allowance here. So guys, and now we're almost here at our connection point. So this is where I started, right? And I want to fold it kind of out of the way like this, so I see exactly where I began. So now let's stitch right to where we started, just like this. So I'm holding it with the pin, and then I just guide the pin and quick reverse. So this is what this looks like now. So now we have it like this, and there's still a lot of bias tape here. So let's trim this a little bit. Now it's time to connect them. So now we have our 2 ends here, right? And we could connect them just like this, but that's very basic. So what we want to do is take this one and now twist them like this. So it's like cross, right? This is the point where the stitches meet. So let's put a couple of pins, and now we kind of follow the straight grain of the bias tape, and this is now what we want to sew right here. Let's make sure the dress is out of the way, and then let's stitch this little connector. Ooh, got stuck a bit. And then right to the stitches that connect it. There. Hop. So now looks like this from the right side. Great. Now let's trim the seam allowances here a little bit. Because while we're still at the machine, it's a great time now to press and understitch our tape. We want to bring the tape over the seam allowance like this. Finger press it. And then we want to understitch the tape. So how do we do that? Just like this. And then simply along the tape. And you can flatten the tape as you go. And also arrange everything. Don't skip this step. It dramatically improves the structure, look, and feel of the finish. So I'm holding my breath right now. These things are hard. So now this is beautifully understitched. If you like, you can give it a quick little press. And now let's turn this whole thing like this. So now we're working from the wrong side, from the inside of our garment. And now we can just conveniently fold the tape in half and bring it over like this. So basically, first things first. One fold, two folds. I'm hungry now. Fix it with a few minutes. And just let the tape do its thing. So bias tape is like a little bit stretchy due to the bias. Cut, push it into shape. Shape it. This is nicely pinned in place. See, it's just like, even here the intersection, it's not too bad. Now, let's edge stitch the bias tape in place from the wrong side. So now you have to make sure that your bobbin thread looks amazing. And now we're back at our first stitch, and we can do a quick little reverse. That's what this should look like. It's very nice, and you can see it's very clean. So, neckline has been done. Let's have a look at step 4, the side seam pockets. So guys, side seam pockets, 2 for the front, 2 for the back. They line up with the notches, and we're gonna make French seams. So first things is wrong sides on wrong sides. So the way I like to do it is just to slip them under. Then I just pin them, and the same for the back. Always mark the notches, they're your best friends. So let's bring it over to the machine, and then French seams for all 4 of them. So what I want to do now is stitch it first with 0.5, 1/4 of an inch, then we're gonna press it, flip it and reverse it, and sew it again with another 1/4 of an inch, 0.5, maybe a little bit more. So let's do that now. And the last one. Let's take this one as a sample. So what we want to do now is finger press this tiny little seam open, just like this. And I love to do it just like right at the machine. Now, here you can see there's a little bit of an issue, right? So, above and beyond the pocket, we want to clip into the seam allowance just to release this tiny little corner here. And then this one is actually working well already because the notch is right here. But I can give it another snip maybe here. This is open now, and now let's flip it back like this. Let's make this edge nice and straight. Seam allowances nice and clear. And let's stitch this again with a little bit more than 1/4 of an inch. A little bit more than 0.6 cm, so maybe 0.7, 0.75, a little bit less than a centimeter. And we stitch it again. Reverse it, trim your thread, and now let's have a look if stuff comes through. So there's a little bit of like fray, and then you can just pull them a little bit and then trim them. Some of them just fall out by themselves. They're just like little threads like this. And that's it. Press the pocket away from the main body, so kind of towards the seam allowance. And let's continue and do the other 3 pieces real quick. Now that all these pocket bags are where they're supposed to be, on the sides, step number 5, the side seams. So you can do that sew and serge if you're lazy, but I'm just gonna do another French seam because I just really like the gorgeousness of the finish. So guys, same, like all the time, wrong sides facing. The pockets match up the sides. Let's pin it. I'm gonna speed it up because this takes forever. Let's do the side seam. 1/4 of an inch, 0.5 cm first. And now, lift your foot, pivot into the pocket. Slow and steady. Curves are always difficult because we have to move our piece. And then getting that smooth and moving it in a curve, ooh, that's hard. So don't worry if you don't like really nail that at the beginning. So now we're arriving at the next pivot point. So let's arrange everything so we can actually see what we're doing. Nice and flat. So now we're stitching out of the pocket. Actually just like halfway, maybe like this. Lift it, pivot it. And now we're pretty aligned here again with our side seam. And we continue. And don't forget to reverse to secure your stitches. Up, that was the first one. And then for some reason they're always magnetized. So now guys, let's see if we have to snip a little bit here and there. We can cut little pieces out of the pockets if we need to get them really smooth. We can also cut them a little bit short. Total rainy day today. Let's open our side seam. So we want to press it all open. It can also be with the iron. So let me speed that up real quick, otherwise we're gonna be doing this forever. inside out. And let's wiggle the pockets out. Let's take it like this. And then we want to press it again and press this edge here. The edge of the seam basically. To be very perfect. So we really want to make sure nothing is rolling towards the inside and being pulled in. Massage, roll it out like this, especially curves. You want to roll it with your fingers to get everything straight. Here it is. So sometimes if it doesn't turn well, you might have to go back to the other side and give it another snip, but this all works out just fine. You can add a few pins on important spots. For example, here are going to be pivot points, so we want to make a nice. So we need to stitch next to these stitches that you can see here from the other French seam that connects the pocket bag to the dress. So we need to stitch next to it first and then pivot into the pocket. Otherwise, the pockets don't disappear in the seam pattern. So it doesn't work. And now we can sew everything again with 1 cm seam allowance all the way around. Let's go over to the machine again. So now next to the stitches until the approximate location of the notch into the pocket. Give it some space, curve. And now we're back here, so let's make it all nice and neat. And then when we're next to these stitches, too close, so good, lift it, twist it, check the seam allowance, if it's alright. It is 1 cm. And then we continue all the way down. Reverse, back stitch, we're done. But there is another side, so let's do that one now. Alright, this is now the inside of the dress, and all the seam allowances are here on the inside. Press it. Like a big part of the pressing is also to make the stitches settle into the fabric. So it all shrinks itself together, let's say. And now let's turn it inside out, outside, and press it again. So the pockets are supposed to go to the front, so you can also keep this pocket back here. So basically the seam allowances go to the front. So now it's time to finish the armholes with bias tape. So let's just take the rest of the tape here and do exactly what we did to the neckline. I want to stitch the tape now with the right sides first, all along each armhole, and then connect the open ends down here in the underarm area. Step number 6, armholes. So I'm doing it without pinning it first. Just make sure it's right sides on right sides. And now let's stitch the tape 1 cm starting at the side seam there. You can also use the bias tape to make certain areas a little bit tighter, like a little bit more gathered, in case it, for example, opens up at the sides. So, and now we are approaching our starting point again. So we want to make sure that we end up right there. So let's tighten this one up here. Fold it a little bit away. Match your tape. And then I like to take a pin to just really mark this point. Let's stitch just until the pin. Better like a tiny little gap than overstitching. So, seam allowance here. Leave a good bit, like an inch, 2-3 cm, something like that. And then bring them first together like this. Wiggle the back here a little bit out. And then we take the one under and we twist it 90 degrees. And now we have this cross. Take some pins. So one here where the stitches end. Let's stitch it together. Reverse it, but be careful, it kind of frays the tape, and then all the way down here. Reverse well. So it looks like this now. And we can remove the seam allowance here. Leave half a cm, quarter of an inch, something like this. Check from this side, and this is what we got. Now, let's finger press the tape over the armhole, over the seam allowance like this. And then let's understitch it. And we want to start at our connection points down here. Now let's edge stitch it. I like to also pull the tape and the garment kind of away from each other so the seam is totally open. You can also do the bias tape before you do the side seams, but then the connection bit is not as beautiful and you have a bit of an ugly finish under the arm. But then again, it's just under the arm. So if you want to just get done with it quickly, you can do it like this. So guys, the understitch has been stitched. And now let's go to the inside here. So let's turn it inside out. Here we are. And we want to fold it now in half. Basically, you fold it all the way to the stitches there first, and then one more time, so you can see the understitch. Put pins if you want, or just fold it first, and then usually it falls in place when you're sewing. Like linen has kind of like a physical memory, right? So if you scratch it in, it stays. From the wrong side, from the inside of the garment, we want to stitch now all the way. So actually I can hardly see what I'm sewing because the camera is right in front of my nose. So, and we're coming back to the beginning here. So we just cleanly stitch there. Get the threads out of the way so they don't get all tangled up. And then we can just over stitch it a little bit. And a tiny reverse. Hop, that's it. Now let's do it one more time for the other armhole, and I will just speed this one up. Yeah. So guys, we are almost done now. Let's give this a little press here. I will do like a big press afterwards. So, last but not least, a hem. So I want to do a double folded finish, very small, just like this, all the way around. So then, since there's a curve, you can also do a stay stitch first and use the stay stitch to fold. So that's what I'm gonna do now. So I've added this stay stitch here, and we use this now to fold. So fold it over the stay stitch first. We can use our iron, of course. So the stitches itself give a bit of a physical barrier for the fabric to fold over, which is great. Another little tricky trick, if we have then the side seams here, they're naughty, let's just snip, and one more snip, we will do double fold. So one of the seams, so then it will fold like this, and like this, and this is all much flatter because a single fold. Let's make it double. So one more time. Linen is also more sustainable than cotton, by the way, guys. Let's bring it to the machine and let's finish our gorgeous beach dress with a double folded hem. So, I hope you enjoyed this so long video. Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. And if you haven't done so yet, please like, subscribe, comment, and share this clip with your friends. And don't forget, you can get the pattern in the link in the description down below. So, happy sewing. Thank you so much for watching. Some weird, like, well, it's like beach hangout, you know. With the swing. Very deserted island vibe here.
Almost fell. Okay, hold on. Red one and green one. I'm practicing that. That's kind of behind. The tree there. Yeah, the tall palm tree with the red house and the green one. I'm quite